Hey guys, how the hell are you? Time for a brand new iFAQ video. This is Infrequently Asked Questions number 9. We're actually at the 9th one of these thus far. And I want to thank you guys so much for continuing to tune into these and ask your questions. It's really cool getting to answer them for you and kind of getting to pick my own brain about some of these things. Every so often you guys ask a question where I'm like, do I even have an opinion on that? And then I think about it like, yeah, I do actually. That's interesting. So it's cool. This is kind of a nice little bit of introspection to do in these videos, as well as just answer some basic questions too. So yeah, enough of my yammering. Let's just get into the first question so that I can continue yammering. What guitar have you had the longest? So this is my Schecter C1 Exotic. I believe this is a 2005 because I bought it at the very beginning of 2006. And I have had it since I bought it brand spanking new from the Guitar Center in Rockford, Illinois. And I've actually done a My Personal Guitars episode on this. This was My Personal Guitars episode number 1, and for very good reason, because this is still a go-to instrument for me, even though I've had it for so long. It plays extremely nice. It is very well broken in. It has a lot of very deep battle scars and wounds on it from years of touring. These days it's kind of relegated to being my pickup demo instrument, but I am very much toying with the idea of reverting it back to its old touring shape by putting in a pair of Duncan Blackouts and maybe making a different instrument into a pickup demo instrument. Just so that way I've got this one ready to go for recording purposes, because when I had Blackouts in this, my God, did it sound so tits when I would record with it. So yeah, we'll just have to see. What piece of gear do you most regret getting rid of? Oh man, so right before I went on my very first tour ever, I had 2 amps, and I only really had one stage-worthy instrument at the time, which was that Schecter from question 1. So I had a Mesa Boogie triple rectifier, which was my main amp, and I had a PV Ultra Plus, which was my first ever tube amp that I ever got, and it sounded so good. I remember so many times I would loan that sucker out after I got my Mesa because I wasn't really using it a lot, but I would loan it out to other bands to use live whenever one of their rigs kind of broke down. And I would always get told, dude, you throw a tube screamer in front of it and it is this massive, brutal tone. And I would agree, whenever you'd throw an overdrive in front of it, it sounded ridiculously good. Part of me really wants to get one of those amps again because it sounded so good. It was a very martially tone, but with a sort of American character to it because it had the 6L6s. I really dug it. I thought it sounded awesome, and I very much miss it. I would love to get my hands on another one, but at the same time, I kind of feel like the prices they're going for these days are a little high, considering what they are. And I don't know, we'll just have to see. Really like your down-to-earth, no BS style. A question for your iFAQ. What would you recommend for a quick warm-up and also for a longer warm-up that you use or have used? So I'll be honest with you, I'm not a very disciplined guitar player at all. I very rarely warm up at all. When I do warm up, I usually harken back to a few warm-up exercises that I learned off the John Petrucci Rock Discipline DVD. And there was definitely a few exercises on there that I thought were great for getting the fingers kind of limbered up a little bit. But these days, what I normally do when I'm trying to get warmed up is I usually just pick up a guitar and I start playing what few cover songs I actually know how to play. And I just kind of work my way through them, just like 2 or 3 songs, just to like get a feel for it. And then I start actually playing my music that I want to record. so that way I can make sure that that's up to snuff before I hit the record button. That's honestly what I do for warming up these days. I'm not very well disciplined as a musician, and it's definitely something that I regret not kind of working on that in the past, but there it is. Hey man, how many band shirts do you own, and what's your oldest one? So at any given moment, I tend to have somewhere in the realm between 50 and 100 band shirts, just depending on various factors. I don't keep every band shirt that I've ever owned. I'm not one of those collector types that you sometimes see on like Instagram and whatnot that just band shirt after band shirt after band shirt. Number one, I don't feel like hanging on to a lot of those things, especially if I don't wear them actively. So a lot of times, if there's shirts that I haven't worn in a while, they get sold on eBay from time to time to those of you that do like to collect those, or they get taken to Goodwill if they've kind of gone through a cycle on eBay and they haven't sold. But normally between 50 and 100 band shirts, and right now I've got right around 80, including shirts to various concert festivals like Prague Power and Wacken. My oldest band shirt that I have, I actually have a Death Sound of Perseverance tour shirt, and I absolutely love this shirt. I do not fit into it at all. It says that it's an adult large, which is what I typically wear these days, but this thing has been shrunk in the wash so many times that, you know, don't get me wrong, I know I need to lose weight, but I need to lose even more weight than what I really need to lose just to be able to fit into this. So at the moment, I hang on to this because it is a Death tour shirt, and because I just want this memento of my hero. Question: would you ever review a customized guitar of choice, say from Halo or Balaguer or 10S or something like that? So I definitely would, and I have in the past. There has been instances where I've ordered custom instruments and they have ended up on this channel before. You mentioned Balaguer. There is a Balaguer archetype that I ordered at one point that I did a video on. I no longer have the instrument because in the end I just kind of felt like I was a little bit disconnected from it a little bit. Not to say that it was a bad instrument at all. It was actually a really damn good instrument, but there was definitely a few things about it that if I could go back in time, I would have definitely done differently ordering that instrument, and maybe that would have ended up resulting in me actually keeping it. I do have custom instruments here that I like to do my personal guitar videos on, and the reason why I prefer to do it in those videos is because I kind of feel like these are instruments that were made for me with my personal specs. I just kind of feel like that is a better forum for doing those particular instruments since they've got more personalized specs on them. That being said, I am definitely not opposed to doing the occasional customized instrument in a review video. A lot of you guys keep asking about the Roars video. That is coming, but it's gone through a few different iterations, and it will continue to go through a few more iterations before I am satisfied and content with actually posting it on the channel. So guys, please be patient. That video is coming, but yeah, hope that answers your question. This week you talked about your YouTube income. How profitable is your music career in general, if you don't mind me asking? It is extremely not profitable. I have spent way more money on my music career than I would necessarily care to disclose, and I've made honestly barely anything from it. So it's kind of dumb. Like when I was actually in a band and going on the road and trying to do the whole rock star thing and wanting to get the record deal and wanting to put out albums and tour the world, etc. It's kind of funny. I lost my ass trying to do that for a decade and a half, and literally this YouTube channel, me basically being bored, not giving a fuck if it succeeds. I've had so much more success doing this, so much more financial success doing this, and it started as just a means to keep me from being bored, and I honestly didn't give a shit if anything came of this channel. It's mind-boggling how much effort I put into actually being a professional musician, and as soon as I stopped trying, that's kind of when a few things came together for me. I'm not sure how much money I dumped into being a professional musician. Probably, tens upon tens of thousands of dollars. Going on tour, having to pay to play to be on those tours and seeing like practically nothing from it. Having to beg club owners sometimes just for gas money, just to get down to the next stop on the tour. Being yelled at, being screamed at by a support band because we sold more merch than them one night. I don't know, they kept screaming at us about knowing our place, and I'm gonna say fuck that. We had a lot of fun, we made a lot of money that night, but honestly all of that money went towards the next van repair because our van literally broke down the very next day. So I mean, it was kind of a never-ending cycle of losing money, and losing money. Thoughts on the band Nails? Whew, boy, I definitely have an opinion on the band Nails. I will state, firstly, that I actually really like the band's music. But I'll tell you what. Let's answer this through the medium of song. So yeah, I really dig the band's music. I just think that they honestly take themselves a little bit too seriously. I mean, dude, it's just power violence. Just kick fucking ass making the music and, I don't know, kind of lighten up a little. Hey man, sorry if this has been asked before, but have you played a Skervesen since doing your review on one of their guitars? So I have played a couple of other Skervs since that video, and I've been very well impressed by a few of them. Especially the most recent ones. Recently, I had the pleasure of playing this one at the Winter NAMM show. It had a pair of Guitar Marie pickups in it, string source strings, and it absolutely fucking slayed. Man, like, if that's any indication of what's coming out of that shop these days, those guitars are fucking top tier, really. I would love the opportunity to check one out on this channel again, like in a controlled environment, not on the fucking convention floor, but dude, like, that instrument was so goddamn impressive. Do you think signature guitars are worth it? I am thinking about getting a PRS SE Mark Holcomb because the 20-inch radius, but some people say I'm just paying for the name on it. I would go with Schecter, which kind of has better specs at a slightly price increase, but the radius on them is not as flat as I like. So here's my honest opinion on signature instruments, because I've owned a few, and there's also been a few that I flat out refused. Like, I don't even want to be anywhere near it. Here's the thing you got to remember with a signature instrument is that signature instruments are designed with the intention of being a particular artist's main instrument, something that they can quote unquote be proud to put their name on. Sometimes it's kind of obvious that they're just a cash grab, like that Glenn Tipton LTD, for example, which, to the best of my knowledge, still, he has yet to play live. He still plays his hammers when he actually does perform with the band because of his current health issues. But, I mean, like, many times I've played signature instruments and I've been super impressed with the quality. I've been super impressed with the choice of appointments. You mentioned that PRS SE Mark Holcomb. I've done a review on that guitar, and I stand by that as being an incredible bang for your buck instrument. Sometimes, you know, these guys put their names on stuff, honestly, so that it can be sold for a premium a little bit. Maybe there's some sort of business workings that are happening behind the scenes, like, hey, we're gonna stack an extra however many dollars on the price point so that we can sell it with your name on it and you get a chunk of it. Hey, fine, whatever. You know, what's happening behind the scenes isn't usually that much of a concern for me, but sometimes I feel like those instances, the gear doesn't necessarily stack up so much. Now, I will say that the positive experiences have far outweighed the negative experiences with signature gear. What I say is, if you dig a particular signature piece of gear, whether you dig the artist that is connected to it or not, then fuck it. Grab it, play it, see if you gel with it, and if you feel like spending the money on it, then fucking do it. It's not about the name that's attached to it, it's about you as a player and how you are attached to that instrument. If you pick it up and it just feels familiar, it feels comfortable to you, and it feels like a better extension of you as a player, then fuck it, it's worth it. And now it's time for this week's Troll of the Week is very interesting. Serge writes, "Repent and accept Jesus in your heart if you have not, before it's too..." I'm sorry, let me do this with a much more biblical tone. "Repent and accept Jesus into your heart if you have not, before it's too late. He can free you from any sin, depression, anxiety, addictions, because that's from devil." Not the devil, but devil. "He will send peace in your heart and give you eternal strength. What are you waiting for, my friend? Today may be your last chance." Oh, honey, you totally picked the wrong channel to comment on. So, here's the thing. I am a lapsed Catholic, and I was raised Catholic, and got to a certain point where I reached the age of reason, and I lost the faith. And I don't believe in any sort of deity whatsoever. I don't believe that there is any sort of deity that I should be believing in or worshiping. I hope I'm not one of those asshole atheists that likes to corner people like, "Hey, you seem like a really intelligent person, you know, so let's talk about this God thing." You know, I don't want to be one of those types. What I will say is that, you know what, if you believe in a higher power and you believe in any sort of deity and it makes you legitimately a better person to be around and a better person to have on this planet with the way that you act because of your beliefs, then more power to you. Have at it. Have fun with that. But that being said, by being an asshole YouTube commenter, I don't quite think that you really became that better person you intended to be. So that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to yet another iFAQ video. I really love doing these. Keep those questions coming. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and yeah, there's lots more metal guitar oriented content to come. Remember guys, don't take yourselves too seriously, but take what you do very seriously.